everyone. You are listening to the Rachael Maves podcast, and I'm Rachael Maves, your host. Today, we are talking to Filiberto Camacho. With 27 years of dedicated service in the field of education, Filiberto brings a firm commitment to leadership grounded in compassion, experience, and purpose. He is a tireless advocate for students, approaching each child with the same care, respect, and responsibility as if they were his own. At the heart of his professional philosophy is the belief that every individual, regardless of role, title, or background, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. Filiberto consistently strives to model fairness, integrity, and empathy in all interactions, setting high expectations while offering unwavering support. Filiberto, thank you for joining me today.
Good morning, Rachel. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you this morning.
Well, I'm really looking forward to our conversation today and excited to start off with our question that we ask everybody at the beginning. Why did you choose a career in education?
Wow. That's a really good question, Rachel. I'm going to share a personal story that not a lot of people actually know about me. I'm a true believer that sometimes you're set for destiny or destiny set to take you in one direction. So I want to thank my parents for bringing us over to the U.S. I migrated from Mexico, and their vision was always to give us a better life and seek the American dream. So throughout that time, I worked in the fields. And while I was in middle school, I was working in the fields and throughout high school. And after graduation, my boss asked me, so what's the next step? And I told him, I'm going to take a semester off. And without any hesitation, he reached in his pocket and took the truck keys out and threw them at me and said, you go sign up at the community college and don't come back until you have a schedule.
Wow.
Did that person make an impact at that time?
Seriously, wow.
And a few months later, I asked them for a raise. And Rachel, at that time, I was making $3.25 an hour.
Oh my gosh. We won't talk about how long that was. Yeah. Like, what, 3 years, right? Like.
So he said, well, how much are we talking about? And I said, well, how about $3.50, $3.75 an hour? And he goes, I don't have that kind of money. So I went to apply at the local school district, and I got hired as a yard duty. And my starting pay was $8.25, Rachel.
Oh, my word.
So at that point, I was like, okay, great. Now I can continue my education. And at that time, my major was going to be an accountant. I wanted to be an accountant. So I took all these accounting classes. I think I was at 36, 40 units. And I was like, do I really want to sit myself in a cubicle every single day punching numbers? Yeah. No, you know what? I'm going to go into law enforcement. So.
Wait a second. What?
Yep.
From accounting and then to law enforcement?
Yeah. And so I started taking all these administration of justice courses. And again, I was at like 36, 40 units, and my wife was not behind it. And so having a lot of law enforcement friends, they would always tell me, is that really what you want? Because we have one of the highest divorce rates. And if your wife is not 100% behind it and you want to stay with her, then I would say really, really think about it. And so I was like, you know what? If she's not behind it 100%, then I'm going to change directions. And throughout this time, as I was working at a school district, a lot of the teachers that I supported would come back and say, you're just a natural to be a teacher. You're just a natural to be in education. You should consider that. So then I pivoted over to my liberal studies. Graduated from community college, went on to CSUMB, graduated with my bachelor's, started the first phase of the teaching program. And during that time, it was when the No Child Left Behind Act was in effect, and how they were talking about attaching the students test scores to the teachers' evaluations.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I really want to do that?
Yeah.
So then I was presented with an opportunity to start working at the district office. And at first I turned it down. And my assistant superintendent of business came back again and said, we really want you to come to the district office. This is how much you're making. This is how much you're going to make. And I was like, wow. Wow. So I was like, you know what? Money is not everything. And so her convincing line was, you're making an impact at this middle school. However, you can make a bigger impact in the entire district.
Mm.
So from a classroom from a yard duty, I went to a classroom assistant, to a liaison leader at the middle school, and then to the district office.
Oh, wow.
As an executive assistant. And then from there, I learned so much from our state trustee because we're on a state takeover for academics.
Oh, okay.
And so she was just phenomenal. She would bring everybody in, have conversations, have straight conversations with individuals. There was no sugarcoating. This is the direction we have to go in order to make improvements in the district and get it out of state receivership.
Yeah.
And from there, I moved into becoming a director of technology. And I'll be honest with you, Rachel, I didn't even want the position.
I was going to say, everything that you've shared so far, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. And so I was like, no, and people would always tell me, my superintendent sat me down and my assistant superintendent, and they were like, Filiberto, you just don't give yourself enough credit. Look at all the things that you've done. You've already been overseeing the technology department this past year. You just don't have the title nor the money. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm ready for that. Although I had already taken so many computer classes, and I was very, very knowledgeable in terms of networking. Yeah. So they were like, look, you've already been doing this for a year. I think it's time to take the next step and become the director. And so I ended up becoming the director of technology. And since day one, I owe it to my mentor because we had a sit down. And I was like, Maribel, I didn't really want this position. And she's all like, Philly, you're going to be okay. It's going to be fine. I'm going to be here to support you. But you have to make me a promise. And I said, uh-oh, what's that, Maribel? And she says, that the knowledge I share with you is the knowledge you share with others.
Mm.
And boy, was that impactful.
Yeah.
And so I always think about that. And I always have the conversations with people. And I say, look, I've had a lot of really good people throughout my career, and I think I owe it back. And so that's why I'm always looking for ways to support others and help others and lead them in the right direction. And I always tell them, look, we can have a conversation. If what I share with you is useful, use it. If not, in one, out the other, and it's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
As long as we are making an impact.
Yeah.
To the students and to the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think with this also, Rachel, is knowing how to humble yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
And not allowing a title to get to your head. Yeah. I think being able to respect others, treat others with dignity and respect will take you a long ways.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that story, Filiberto, tell our listeners a little bit about your current role. What are you doing now?
I'm still the IT director for a small district. And sometimes people are like, oh, it's a small district. It is a small district, but we wear a lot of hats.
That's true.
So,
Small districts, that is 100% true.
yes. So just a little bit of a history when I came to Chawanaki Unified is I came in, and again, I just came here, just wanted to use it as practice for interview because it had been so long that I had not interviewed. And so my son was going to school at Fresno State, and my wife, the typical Mexican mom, she was always like, "Oh, we should go see our son on this weekend." And I was like, every weekend, she only comes like, let him be. He's a college boy now. Give him his freedom. Give him his space. And she was always like, "No, we should go see."
Yeah.
And
Moms and their sons.
a few months later, she says, "Maybe you should look for something out there." And so I saw this position at Chawanaki, and I was like, "Where is Chawanaki?" So I started doing some Googling, and I was like, "Oh, it's going towards Yosemite, going towards Bass Lake." And so I applied and did my first round, got called for the second round, and got called for a third round. I was like, "Boy, this is a rigorous process for a small district." And I got a call back after my third interview, and the superintendent says, "Hey, we would like to extend the offer to you." And I said, let me think about it because it's quite a ways coming from Monterey County to the Central Valley.
Yeah, that's a big shift. That's a big
Yeah.
change. Big
And
change.
so I was like, let me think about this. And he goes, "What is there to think about? Chawanaki is the place you want to be at." And so I shared my story with him. I said, "I'm sorry that I made you, go through this process, but I don't think I'm ready." And he says, "You know what? Come down and we'll have coffee." And we had coffee after he extended the offer to me and Rachel. After that, the things that he shared with me, I was like, I think I need to be at Chawanaki. I think I can make a difference. And so the money wasn't, an issue for me. Yes, it was a pay cut. However, I knew that I can make a difference.
Yeah.
And so after a couple months, I sat down with my superintendent and said, "This is what I've seen. Give me your top 3 priorities." And he says, "Well, Filiberto, we don't have that a lot of money. It's a small district." And I said, "I understand that, but I'm not asking for the money. I'm asking for what are your top 3 priorities. It is my job and my due diligence to go out and seek grants and see how we can make this happen." And so he gave me his priorities, and I applied for a grant, and we were one of 6 recipients to receive 500,000.
Wow.
And one
Huge,
out of
especially for a
2,
small district.
yeah, 1 out of 2 in the state of California.
Wow.
And we went from managing 7 different phone systems to 1, Rachel. You could just imagine trying to manage all these different phone systems.
Yes.
So we did an upgrade on our infrastructure. We did an upgrade on our phone systems. We went with digital clock and speakers throughout the entire district to standardize. We implemented security cameras throughout the entire district, and it was all thanks to that grant.
That's
And
amazing.
my superintendent was like, "I cannot believe that we did this in such a quick time."
Yeah.
It wasn't
Small lift.
it wasn't even 6 months, Rachel, when all this got done.
Gosh. That's fast, Filiberto. When I was a superintendent, we did something similar with the phone system and then all of the clocks going digital. And I don't think people understand, what a massive lift it is and what a massive return on investment it is, just as a time saver for the district and the staff there. That's impressive.
Yeah. And so, my biggest thing is, what are we doing for our students?
Yeah.
How are we making an impact in our students today?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in my philosophy is there is no room for adult issues. It's all about our students.
That's right. Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, Rachel, as you mentioned, you've been a superintendent. When a parent drops off their student, in front of the school, we are now their parent. And so every time I make a decision, I always think about it. What if this was my child?
Yeah.
Because I consider all of the students within my school district my children.
Mm.
And I always collaborate with other directors and other people outside of Chawanakee. And my sharing with them is it's not about your district, it's not about my district, it's about our future leaders.
Yeah.
Because you know what? The next surgeon that is performing surgery on me may be from your school district.
Yeah.
How do we collaborate to move the work forward and
Yeah.
ensure that the students are receiving the proper education and that we are providing the necessary resources for them to be successful?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's a weighty responsibility and a high level of trust for parents.
Yes.
Yeah. So in like hearing all of this, Filiberto, and your journey and story, what are the couple things that really keep you up at night when you think about your role as the director over technology, but then also just your current district and the students that you're supporting?
I would say that one thing that keeps me up at night is when there's going to be a big event.
Yeah, I bet it does.
I'm always thinking, I'm always overthinking it. And it's just like, why are you overthinking? Things are going to be okay. You went through the run through, you have everything. It's going to, but it's technology. And, technology, I mean, you always have that little room for error. And
Yeah.
so I think that's one thing that keeps me up at night when there's going to be a big event.
Yeah.
In terms of what keeps me up at night when in terms of doing my job, I always give it 110% or more, Rachel. And I always ask myself every night, did I do the right thing for these kids?
Mm-hmm.
Can I lay my head on the pillow knowing that I did the best that I could?
Yeah.
And there are things that we can control, Rachel, and things that we cannot control.
Yeah.
Things that we
That's right.
can control, then we need to address them. And it's okay to say, hey, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Can you help me? Can you guide me through? Because I think that in terms of seeking out for help, and I go through this every single day, because I'm the director of technology, but I also take care of a school site as a technician because that's where my office is at. And a lot of times the teachers will be like, "Oh, can I ask you this stupid question?" And I said, "There is no such thing as stupid. The stupid question is the one that you don't ask."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "What can I help you in?" And so then I explained to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, thank you for letting me know." And as a leader, I think it's very important that in technology that we bring ourselves to that level and make the teachers and staff feel comfortable using the technology
Mm-hmm.
and allow them to understand that, hey, it's okay. It's technology. You can learn it.
Yeah.
Walk them through that process of understanding how to troubleshoot, not being able to launch your Google Meets. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I see in that is if we take the time to support our staff and
Mm-hmm.
our teachers, they're also going to take the time to support our students in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so I think it's mutual there where we have to make sure that the staff and the teachers have the necessary resources to be successful so that they can take those and bring it into the classroom.
Yeah.
So I know I talked a little bit much in regards to this, but I mean, I think we just have to really think about, am I at peace with myself with what I did?
Yeah. Well, and what I appreciate about just embedded within that reflection, Filiberto, this almost gets to the next question, which is ways to move forward. What I hear you saying is like part of your role in that space of humility and doing the best that you can is you really created and hold valuable making technology accessible to everyone within your district and not and creating that space where teachers can be honest about where they're at and not feel badly about surfacing that, which I think is, I mean, that's huge. That's part of the battle when you're trying to learn something new or troubleshoot something in that tech space.
Yeah, and you just have to, allow them time to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times I hear from my staff like, Gilberto, you're not the typical IT person. I came from the private industry and they were like this, they were like robots. And, you're not like that. And I said,
Mhm.
it's not about what I want. It's about how do we support you? How do
Yeah.
we bring the technology to you to allow you to have a positive impact in these students.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so sometimes they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this I put in an IT request for this." And I said, I always come back and I say, if all my IT requests were as easy as this, I'd be every single day. And but you again, you have to give them that freedom to kind of come out of their shell and say,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how easy or how hard the request is.
Yeah.
I think we just have to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I do, if there's anything else, like on the two ways to move forward, what beyond like the making technology accessible, helping people to feel comfortable, is there anything else that's top of mind for you as you're thinking about how you continue to move technology forward in your district?
I always take the time to have conversations with staff. Hey,
Mm.
what's working? What's not working? How can the IT department support you in a higher level if
Yeah.
need? And,
Yeah.
w- working here at Chawanaki, and as I mentioned, wearing many hats, I
Hmm.
also oversee the data so that when my superintendent needs data, she'll reach out to me and say, Filiberto, I need this data. And so working with Parsec Education as well and really looking at the data and seeing the data, is it matching? Is it not matching? And then
Yep.
providing that data to my superintendent and my superintendent providing that data to the principals. And the
Yes.
principals then looking at the data and having those data chats with their teachers. I
Yep.
think it's very important because that gives us that lens to look at our our practices making a difference.
Yes. That's right.
And
Yep.
do we need to realign or readjust some of our processes to ensure that we see that growth?
Yep.
And so I
Exactly.
think it's important in terms of things to move forward is to continue having those conversations
Yep.
and looking at ways to improve that outcome.
Hmm. Well, I appreciate that that continuous improvement cycle is just a part of the way in which you do the work. And I'm not surprised, Filiberto. I mean, you're just very humble in your position, and the wanting to do really well and serve people really well comes through very clearly. So this is going to be our last question as we wrap up our time together. What question in education are we not asking that we should be from your lens?
Uh, I think a question that, sometimes a lot of people will say, yes, I ask myself that, but am I really reflecting on it is, why are we here and what is our purpose?
Mm.
I think it's very important to really reflect on that and really analyze our answer. Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
And is my purpose being met in the organization? And is my purpose making a difference?
Mm-hmm.
Um, as I mentioned before, in my philosophy, there is no room for adult issues. So I
Yeah.
always reflect and ask myself, am I here? Am I here for the adults or am I here for the students? And it's always about the students. Because if it wasn't for the students, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity for us to be part of their future and part of making a difference in them. Many times we just might say, well, I'm here as a leader. I just want to make sure that things get done. And so I see that as a two-part thing, Rachel. I see it as, are you a leader or are you a manager?
Yep.
A manager will make sure that things get done on a daily basis, and that the day-to-day operation continues to flow. But a leader goes beyond that. A leader has a vision. A leader includes other people.
Yeah.
A leader has discussions, whether they're good or bad.
Yeah.
And determine, is my philosophy the right direction? Are we moving in the right direction? Many times in IT, we talk to vendors.
Yeah.
And I always talk to the vendors and I said, look, just because I'm the director of technology doesn't mean that you're just going to say yes, yes. No, I want you to challenge me. I want you to make me think differently, because many times, we're so overwhelmed with work that our vision may be very narrow. And we think about something and say, okay, this is what I want to do. But I want my vendor to challenge me and say, Filiberto, have you thought about this? Because this can lead you to this, to this, to that.
Yeah.
And many
Fresh
times,
perspective. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And many times I'll be like, you know what? You have a point. Let's go with that, because I see where this can really lead us in the future.
Yeah.
And there's going to be times where I will say, I hear your perspective. However, this is my vision based on meeting the goals of our district.
Yep.
And so, building that relationship with your vendors is very important as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that overall, it's how do we build those relationships that we can take and make a positive impact in our students.
Yeah.
Because whatever decision we make has an impact on the students, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that lens, Filiberto, because what I hear you saying is we think about, like, one, grounding ourselves in our purpose and understanding that really clearly. And especially in education, when it's centered on the kids and being there to support the students first, then that everything kind of falls into place around that, which is very clear that you're a very purpose-driven human, Filiberto, which the Chwanaki is so blessed to have you on their staff.
I try my best every day, and having these conversations with my superintendent, and just having those open communication chats and just help me understand the direction that you want to move in.
Yeah.
For clarification purposes, is this what you're asking for?
Yeah.
And I mean, because if we are not all together in this, then students are not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important that we always think about what is in the best interest of our students.
Yep. Yeah.
How are we making that impact?
Yes. I love that. Well, on that note, thank you for joining me, Filiberto. This was just wonderful. I appreciated your time today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Rachel. And I hope this can really help others understand the leadership style as well, and really motivate them to collaborate with others and just build a path for the future.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And as the new year dawns, we at Parsec are here to support you and your teams. We have a variety of free resources on our website built to support mid-year LCAP updates, climate and culture surveys, and your budget planning for the 26-27 school year. Check out what we have at parseceducation.com/resources.